Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is 4:44 on Wednesday morning, February 19th. It is day 19 of 4:44 Mornings with Michelle. And today we are going to talk about daily structure. This is um, a really good way to start looking at productivity, accomplishment, progress in your life. As we think about the things that we have already talked about, from God time to water to sleep to nutrition to movement, you notice that we start to add a lot of things to your day. So if you haven't been doing these things, now I've given you 5 additional things you have to think about throughout the day. And that can be hard when you feel already stressed and like your day is full of different things that you have to accomplish. So if we're going to have productive mornings, like we've talked about my morning structure and the way that I set it up, why stop at the morning? Let's go for the whole day. So today, we're going to talk about the daily life of Jesus and kind of how we model our days after him. I'm excited because it gets us to a point where not only are we modeling him for his behavior in his daily structure, but it also incorporates how we model him to best live the life that God created for us. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to talk about is just the amount of time that he spent with Jesus. So this kind of goes back to our God time. And you'll see throughout the day as I read this that a lot of this stuff we've already talked about in the previous days. So the first one is time, like I said. And I'm going to read Matthew 14:23. And it says, after he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountain by himself to pray. And what he's talking about there is when he had dismissed them is the disciples. And so it kind of goes back to we need people. So he was around other people. And then also we need that alone time. And when he went up to the mountain to pray, he was really having his alone time with God and getting refilled from the conversations and the stuff that he was just doing. So really, if we're not spending time with the Father, how can he guide us and lead us and really speak to us if we're not giving him that time? So the first one really is that time. The second one is when we think of early. So we've talked about 4:44 is my time that I kind of have to get up and get ready and get moving. But there are people that are evening and night people. And how do they either readjust their time to be in the morning or figure out how to structure their day so that they are working optimally in the evening when it is most convenient for them? This is a hard choice to make, and it goes back to the fact that we all have choices to make. Maybe it's worth trying for a while, even though you're an evening person. Maybe it's worth just trying to flip that schedule for a while. The biggest thing is when we make these choices, we don't want the guilt to set in. Even though it's something as simple as evenings or mornings, there's other choices that you have to make in order to get that. You're going to have to go to bed earlier in order to get up earlier. Well, if there's family things or things that you're used to doing at night, then you may have to either give those up or change how you're doing them and when you're doing them. So there's a story of this that I like to tell that I heard a long time ago. And it's about a father that really liked jazz. And so every year, him and his buddies would go away to a jazz festival for one weekend. Well, he'd been doing it for years. And after he started a family, he had a daughter. And that daughter ended up having a dance recital or dance performance on the same weekend as the jazz festival. So he had a choice to make. Does he continue to go to the jazz festival knowing that he's going to miss his daughter's performance? Or does he give up his weekend that he's used to doing for himself to go to his daughter's performance? You see the flip of both sides. You can see that where guilt could set in either choice he made. If he goes to the jazz festival, then he's going to sit there and think about his daughter's performance and what a bad dad he is and how he didn't do the right thing and how he wishes he could be there. Or if he stays for the dance performance, then he can see well, now I'm giving up my time. I feel guilty for not doing my own things. I really want to be there, so I'm not present where I am. And you can see how this mindset would go back and forth. So, what he ended up doing was he ended up going to the jazz festival. But what he did was he made accommodations for his daughter. So, for example, he sent her flowers the morning of her performance, just letting her know that he was thinking about him and that she would do a good job. He had somebody else record it so that when he got home on that Sunday night, they watched it together. She was able to talk about it, tell him what happened. And what this did was it took away the conflict in his mind that he had set up so that he could support her, but not also give up what he was looking for one time a year of rejuvenation for himself. So it's the same thing whether you're picking mornings or evenings, and it matters in terms of just being able to not have that guilt and shame of the choice that you make going the other way. So that was a little side note, but I really think about the choices that you make and the conflicted mindset that we have a lot of the times, where if we make a choice, let's stick to it and think positively about the other one. Okay, so back to Jesus. So the other thing that Jesus did was he prayed, and we just heard one verse on that. But I'm also going to read Mark 1:35, and it says, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed." Again, he's talking about the morning and that morning time being productive. So. We also think of the when Jesus prayed, he didn't just pray once a day. Um, Luke 5:16 says, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." Um, so you'll see that it's not just once a day; it's often, and that's where the God time. We talk about 30 minutes a day, but really, what more can you give him? What conversations can you have with him throughout the day that isn't just checking a box? So. Um, the next one is he ate. He was fully human, just like we were, and he ate. Um, Mark 2:15 talks about Matthew's house, and when he went and he ate with the sinners. And there's a couple other references too where they sat down together and ate. The Last Supper is one of them, etc. So he ate just like we did. You'll also notice in Matthew 4:2, he talks about fasting. So therefore, in order to fast, you have to eat. And so he ate just like we did. He also drank. Being fully human, he needed water as well. John 4 is the one that I really like with that, where it talks about the woman at the well and where he went to meet her and to start a conversation using something that we should be doing daily in good quantity, which is drink water. So he used just a basic thing that it was a necessity in order to start that conversation with her. And I think about this too as a lot of these things we do during the day, kind of because because we have to eat and drink in order to stay healthy, but also what opportunities do we have to talk to other people about the Lord and the things that are going on in our lives? I just did my taxes yesterday, and I got to talk with my tax lady about the Lord and what He's done in my life and the exciting things that He has planned for me and that I've done. And so, even the simple things that we do during the day, we have that opportunity to speak the good news of Jesus and what He's done in our lives. Jesus walked. He had movement. In the Bible, it talks 315 times about Jesus walking or somebody walking away or with him. So there's a whole bunch of stories about movement in the Bible. And then the last thing I want to cover is God finished. He finished the race that was set out before him. He finished the goal of his life, and he wasn't stopped by the things that came up along the way. So if we really think about the life of Jesus, what his purpose was to die on the cross and to take our sins. So he wasn't stopped by the things that were trying to hinder him. If you think about large crowds, how many times did he stop and give sermons and give that information where he could have not gone to the cross? He could have just kept doing sermons and kept telling people about the Lord, but that wasn't his plan. He was stopped by storms. There's a couple stories in the Bible about Jesus in storms. One of them, he walked on water. One of them, he called one of his disciples out of the boat and to step out onto the water. And those types of things didn't stop Jesus from finishing his task. And we're the same. We have purpose and tasks in our lives that we want to accomplish for ourselves and for the kingdom and for the Lord. And so really just making sure that we don't stop, that we finish the race put out before us. And we need a healthy body and a healthy mind in order to do that. So that is really the daily life of Jesus and how we can model our days after him. Let me know in the chat today what you have decided to focus on. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about SMART goals and how to take one of these things, whether it be eating or drinking or praying more, and we're really going to put a goal to them so that we can start to increase productivity and accomplishment on those things. So let me know in the chat tomorrow what you're going to be setting that goal on, and I'm excited to hear from you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see when I go live. Like this video, and if you found something super interesting in it, go ahead and share it with a friend. Let me know if you have any questions. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.